I did my final review on the evidence for evolution. Something that I found out thanks to the University of Michigan, and right there, I'll obviously link it, is that belief in evolution has become the majority opinion now. Happened around 2016. The combination of theist evolutionists, like people who believe in like God or a religion, but also believe in evolution, combined with like pure non-theist evolutionists, has finally overtaken creationists, which I think is a pretty cool turn of events because they they attribute this to an increase in Americans holding degrees and like overall better education from 1982 to 2013, which is roughly when this graph takes place. So I wanted to see what the actual evidence for this evolution was because I've always felt like that has to be the answer, but I didn't really know what the evidence was. First, and in my opinion, best evidence that we have is fossil evidence. This is the Archaeopteryx. It's a transitional state from a reptile into a kind of looking like a bird, but it's also definitely a reptile. It's a really cool in between moment. And then we have this Drypithecus skull, which is like a very early hominin, very very early humanoid. And then we have so many different skulls that like we can like see the morphing happen. We can tell the age of these fossils via their carbon dating and superposition, like how far down they are into the ground. I don't know, we could do this. We can extract DNA from these ancient hominin fossils, and we can like prove like there is very obviously similar DNA between us humans and this Dipithecus. Next type of evidence is genetic evidence. 98% similar DNA between humans and chimpanzees. There's also genes that exist without a purpose, which are called vestigial genes, that we have theorized that like once did serve a purpose, but we've evolved past that and like they've been mutated out of function. Something that I found absolutely fascinating that I found from the National Library of Medicine is the concept of the mitochondrial Eve, which is all humans can trace back their mitochondrial DNA to a single maternal relative. So like my mom and then her mom and then her mom and then her mom to like thousands and thousands of years back, we can all be traced back to this one ancient woman. We have a lot of observational evidence, and of course the main guy for that is my boy Charles Darwin with all his finches. What he did was he observed differences in beak sizes in different kinds of finches across the Galapagos Islands. What he found was that those beak sizes correlated to the types of food that were on the different islands. So like bigger nuts, you need bigger beaks to crack, but those beaks they can't really manipulate like the tiny seeds like a really small thin beak can. So what we learn from that is a survival of the fittest type of theory where birds like with the bigger beaks with seeds they can't eat those, so they can't survive. So the birds with those thinner beaks they survived on that specific island, but when it came to like another island, these birds were surviving. So then these birds they couldn't survive, so they died out on that island. It's like with those Dipithecus, like we eventually gravitated towards more different diets, so we didn't need the canines anymore, so we like grew out our molars more. So it's a very similar kind of thing, except that this was happening on a much faster scale. So we have vestigial structure. It's very similar to the vestigial genes, where these are organs or structures that serve no apparent purpose in our body, but might have in a past evolutionary period. The obvious examples of this is the appendix. It has been theorized we had these because of herbivores. They were eating a lot of like they were getting leaves. They were eating off the branches of the trees, and they were eating tree bark. So we needed an organ in our digestive system to take those harder materials and like deconstruct them and like get all the good bacteria from them. And that's what the appendix was for, but we don't eat trees anymore. Another one was wisdom teeth, also for eating plants. Like this is these are for those hard nuts. These are for again like chewing the branches and the bark. That's why we have those like longer, flatter teeth, but now we don't need those anymore because we have McDonald's and we have we're completely self-sufficient in our originally agrarian societies, and then furthermore into like this capitalist place that we have. And then this was really cool. I didn't know this, but Goosebumps, are kind of like a physical manifestation of our fight or flight responses, which, when you think about it, can also be seen as a vestigial structure where that anxiety, we are very rarely in life or death situations anymore because as societies, evolved past those. So we don't really need like very strong anxieties or anything like that anymore. And goosebumps are just a physical manifestation of that, which I found to be fascinating. That is all that I had. But after doing this project, like again, like my physical material self, like always knew that evolution was true, but this was like, it was really cool to like figure it out, and like and obviously it's gonna help very much on the finals. So